and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Local Biz Cast here. I am your loud and friendly host, Dr. Pete. You guys pretty much know me by now. Sitting to my left, but for you guys it might be on the right, this is Sir David Icebrook over here, attorney extraordinaire, from personal injury to a lot of other things. We're going to just dive into that deep end in just 1 second. Are you ready to get dived? Can you dive?
Yeah, man. Maybe a little decaf next time, huh, Pete?
How am I going to do this podcast with zero energy?
That's great.
I just did go from like a 4 to like a 99 in about 2 seconds.
No, you are lying when you say you're loud.
I'm
You're loud.
You see that there's a little bar over there? You see how it goes up to the yellow and the red?
Yeah.
I live in the red.
It just blew up. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you living in the red?
Yeah, I'm in the red. I'm in the zone. I'm over the zone.
See? Everybody knows me.
Over the zone.
There we go.
Okay.
All right. First, a little bit of business. Let's get it done. You guys are getting used to this by now. I'm asking you for help. Of course, if you guys are enjoying the Local Biz Cast, will you help me grow this channel? Share it with your friends. Head over to Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Go to that Local Biz Cast. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Help us bring this to a lot more people if you don't mind. I love doing this. I'm going to try to replace myself as a chiropractor only because this is a lot of fun. Let me tell you. And also, if you know anybody or yourself is a young business person or old business person, an entrepreneur, an influencer, anything. What happened back there? Oh, you saw that TV go off?
No.
Oh, all right.
No.
Anyway,
I'm focused.
I'm
locked in.
If you guys are looking to get on the podcast yourself, that's also easy. Come and get to me either on social media at the Dr. Pete. That's on Instagram and TikTok. You can also find me on Facebook because I was born in the 1900s. I'm at Peter Wool, or I'm also located at the Spine and Health Center, and my email is drpete@shcnj.com. Always looking for guests. We're booking out through the end of this year already, so would love to have you guys on if you guys are looking for an avenue or a platform to kind of grow your business. All right, I'm done. It was like 2 minutes already I wasted.
Okay. I could have come in late.
I don't even need you.
I know.
I'll just do the next podcast by myself.
I would have just sent in my script.
Yeah. Or I have like one of those blow-up things like you had from Naked Gun.
Yeah.
The co-pilot or autopilot.
I love that movie.
Just blow you up.
I love that movie. Right. Yeah. Right. What do you make of this?
That's
A paper hat.
Yeah. What's the clearance, Clarence?
Exactly. Stop calling me Shirley.
Shirley. Yeah.
Okay.
Shirley. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
go ahead.
I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, my good friend from town from a long time, I have to be honest with all of you. I love this guy. He is absolutely fantastic as a human being. He's even better as an attorney. We've done a lot of work together over the years in a major portion of your business, right?
No, personal injury, been doing it about 30 years, and I've had a good luck and fortune of working with people like you, Pete, but no, all kidding aside, it's very important to my practice to have partners. I call them partners, business partners, the medical providers that we refer our clients to, that work on our clients, when they've been injured from a myriad of types of accidents. And your facilities over the years have been just a pleasure to work with. And now we're in this new state-of-the-art facility in Montvale, New Jersey. And you're great. Your staff is great. And I'm not doing it for the plug.
He's plugging me. Look at it. I bring him onto the podcast, and he's plugging my office.
Let's tell the people how I got on this podcast in the first place. About 3 weeks ago, I woke up and I could not stand up. And now you've treated me off and on over the years, but it was a Friday night. I was out to dinner, and I was about to get up at the end of the meal, and my back was totally locked up. It was in spasm, 100% locked down. I could barely walk. I got home. I got up Saturday morning. The first thing I did was text you. And what'd you do? You got right back to me. This was like maybe 7 in the morning. And you said, my office is open. You're going to see one of my doctors. I went in. They started working on me for the next 2 weeks. And now I'm here. I could walk. I could run.
You playing golf?
I can play golf.
Yeah.
I'm not playing golf today. No.
What, 2,000 degrees is your limit?
2,000 degrees. I was at the Yankee game last night in 2,000 degrees. It was a sweat bomb.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the personal injury is one aspect of the practice. The single event cases, like we call them, people are most familiar with the car accidents, the slip and fall, some product liability cases. But there are other aspects of personal injury that we get into as well, which is not as well known as your common personal injury practitioner.
I love this. You're a good podcast guest.
Would
Like,
you
you're like the nice little tease right now. Everybody's like, can't wait to hear.
Would you like me to possibly mention what those other areas are?
I would love for you to mention what those areas are.
Do we have to take a break to our sponsor first?
Do we have a sponsor?
Well, we could after
Icebrook
this.
and Marsh.
Icebrook and Marsh.
Sorry, man. I'll charge you $5 for the rest of the time of the podcast. There you go.
So one area which I've been handling for about the last 15 years or so is the Victims' Compensation Fund cases, and people aren't too familiar with this, VCF as we call it. These are cases that we handle for people who have developed cancer after being exposed below Canal Street during the 8 months after 9/11. So there's an exposure zone, which is below Canal Street, and if you lived, worked, or traveled through that area during the 8 months after 9/11, and you're diagnosed with any cancer today or in the future, this is a federal fund. The fund was signed into law by Barack Obama in 2009, and it was extended during the Biden administration. It was supposed to expire, I believe, initially in 2020 or 21, and it's been extended to 2090.
2090.
2090.
I got the chills only because you told me this already.
So let's think about that for a second. If you were a baby on 9/11 or during the 8 months after 9/11, if you were 1 year old, 2 years old, whatever, and 70 years from that date, you develop 70 years from when you're 70, you develop any cancer, you're getting compensated by the Victims' Compensation Fund.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that you don't have to prove the nexus between the exposure and your cancer. That's the purpose of the fund, to take away the proof. All you have to do is prove that you were in that area for the requisite period, and there are time restrictions, but in general terms, if you were there 40 hours over those 8 months, you will meet the criteria. Then you have to get some affidavits and certifications from people who can attest to that.
Right.
But that, coupled with a diagnosis by the World Trade Center Health Organization, we send you for an examination. They examine you. They certify your cancer, and they'll certify that you meet the presence requirement. You will be compensated. Most cancers will be paid at $250,000.
Wow.
Most cancers. There are some skin cancers pay a little less, but it's a wonderful fund that has been used readily. I think they paid out
Well deservedly, of course.
Paid out over $8 or $9 billion so far. So that's one of our specialties that we handle for clients also. Now, you might want to ask if somebody knows somebody, or there's a family member or a friend, how would they contact me to talk about it? Great question, Pete. Really appreciate it.
Do I need to be here now?
No, really appreciate
I didn't
that.
even need to be here.
So
you could do this whole thing yourself.
What I prefer is people call me directly. I mean, I have office numbers, I have websites, but I like to speak to these people first myself, and then they'll give the information to my staff. So if somebody wanted to reach me on my cell phone, for example,
You're going to put your cell phone on here.
it'll be 201-888-6634. That's my cell phone. You can contact me 24/7. A lot of lawyers, and this goes back to my regular practice also, not many lawyers like to give out their cell phones.
No.
Because why? Because they think they'll be getting calls on Saturday night at dinner when they're half in the bag with their friends and their wife. And they're probably right.
Sure.
Some people do it, but I can count on one hand how many those calls I've got.
Right.
People.
I'm sorry. So you're going to get a phone call on Saturday night telling someone that you're going to have some business because somebody was either injured or the Victims' Compensation Fund. So what's wrong with that?
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. If it's a legitimate call,
sure.
It could be 24/7. It could be Christmas Day. It could be New Year's Eve. I'm just saying most lawyers don't want to give out their cell phone because they're afraid of people abusing it.
Sure.
But I'll take.
How long have you been doing this for?
Giving out my cell phone?
Yeah,
my entire career.
And how long has your career been?
Over 35 years.
So just a rookie, ladies and gentlemen. He's just figuring this out. Don't worry. 35 years. So Can I digress, like how important it is for you to have given out this information right now? Because somebody who was 1 year old, let's just say in 2060, now they have a there is a possibility of them finding proof that they were at that area for that long right now.
Absolutely.
In 60 years, who are you going to have some kind of receipt from, Katz's Deli?
Excellent point.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like if you keep your stuff now and prepare.
And again, it can't just be one dinner at Katz's Deli.
Right.
You have to have a presence.
You're eating dinner at Katz's Deli?
In
What are
the
you
area.
doing? Yeah.
Well, why not? What's wrong with Katz's Deli?
I could have it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It doesn't matter anytime. But anyway.
But you have to have some type of significant presence in the area.
Right.
People work there, haven't been down there for 15 years. If the company's still in existence, like an American Express or the City of New York, they work.
My sister was in Morgan Stanley.
Right. Then those companies are accustomed and familiar with these requests.
Right.
So they'll get out the employment records to us. But, if you were a messenger and you went down there off and on during those 8 months and that messenger company's not in business anymore, that's where we run into some problems.
Sure.
Or people call us up and said, I was volunteering down there handing out waters a couple of days after 9/11. Those are a little bit problematic.
That's going to be
as well.
tough for proof.
Yeah.
I mean, pictures will get you there for an hour or so, but they're not going to get you there for 40 hours.
We dig out what we can.
Yeah.
And we try to get them compensated.
Yeah, and again, we're not talking about the people who are trying to take advantage of this. We're talking about true people who were down there trying to do their thing, and now are obviously a victim of some of the bad stuff that happens over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I see. That was really important that you brought that up, right?
What a coincidence! I don't even know how that
out of nowhere. It didn't say it right happened. Here at all on your.
But I think you were asking me so diligently what's other areas of my personal injury practice.
I mean, I haven't gotten there yet, but I mean, you don't even need me.
A little bit outside of.
Here's what I'm gonna do. Here
what
we go. Yeah. The rest of the podcast is gonna be done like this. I don't even think he needs me in the shot. Can I get out of the shot?
Get in the shot. Get in the shot, Pete.
So I need to know what other areas of practice you guys have.
Well, the other area that I'm very proud of, and I take a lot of pride in my entire practice in representing someone who's been injured in a car accident or slip and fall or trip and fall or whatever. But these other areas that are outside of, as I said before, your typical normal, what's expected in a personal injury practice. One of the other areas is our practice for the Adult Survivor Act cases, which is the ability for adults to bring up sexual abuse that was experienced when they were a child. Generally, if they were in an institution or in the care of a facility like a foster care or a church or a camp or a temple, anywhere where children, even in the entertainment industry, there were cases in the news where these young actors and actresses were taken advantage of by adults. So several states have passed laws in their individual states which extended the statute of limitations, which is the period where you can bring a case. You normally or traditionally, before any of this started, a child would only have 2 years after they became an adult to bring an act. So in most states, you're an adult when you're 18, until you're 20, maybe 21 in some states, to bring a claim. And most of these claims were, they happened 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
So some state legislatures made a decision to pass laws to open the statute of limitations, to let these claims now be brought for different periods of time. When certain states were passed, like New York, New Jersey, California passed, Illinois, Maryland, they each have their different criteria. But for the most part, New York and New Jersey allow these claims to be brought for a certain period of time after the law was passed. So for the next 2 years or so, you could bring a claim regardless of how old you are today.
Okay.
If you were abused when you were 10 years old, or 15 years old, or 5 years old, and then those periods started to close. Let more restricted. Now in New Jersey, you could still bring a claim up to the age of 55. So if you were, abused when you were in elementary school, in middle school, in high school, and you're still under the age of 55, you could bring that claim today. And these claims are being taken very seriously. They're being settled by municipalities, local and state governments. California, if you Google it, entered into a $4 billion settlement to settle the aggregate claims that were filed against several institutions in Los Angeles and the surrounding areas.
What kind of institutions?
Those were foster care homes.
Is there certain areas that are a little bit more prevalent than others? Obviously you said foster care, but I mean, it could happen anywhere. I'm sure you've represented people from everything.
There are prison cases that we're handling as well throughout the country, especially in New York.
Like juvenile.
Juvenile, and yes, what juvenile detention centers exactly, and also separate claims when women who may have been not necessarily minors, but even adults were abused in prisons.
Wow.
And we're handling those claims as well. So those, it's an area, the practice of law, and this is getting a little bit more general now, but the practice of law, depending what you want to do with it, can evolve over time. And you could take your practice, and I was a personal injury lawyer for many, many, many years.
Yep.
And then I had an opportunity to segue into what's called mass tort litigation. And the mass tort litigation was when we started aggregating many, many claimants against one defendant. Not traditionally, but earlier on, it was the pharmaceutical industry.
Okay.
That we were representing clients who had taken a drug or utilized a device, or there was a surgical implant against pharmaceutical companies. And we did a lot of that work for many, many years, going back to Fen days, when Fen was a diet way before your time.
No, we've heard of Fen, of course, but I think I'm just in the field. So
Fen was the precursor to Ozempic,
right?
So, which caused serious problems for many people throughout the United States. So we started with Fen in the late 1990s, and then there was a myriad of litigations against pharmaceutical companies. The Vioxx litigation was very popular. It was anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
Then there were
what was the other one? That was same time as the Vioxx.
There was birth control devices.
Yeah.
Anti-inflammatories.
Right.
So the mass torts.
It's not class action, though. That's different.
No, class action, and I don't want to get too technical at all. A class action and a mass tort are different. A class action is generally one complaint filed on behalf of a class of people. Mass tort are actually individual complaints.
That makes a lot of sense.
Filed with a common cause or against a common defendant, but there'll also be different injuries in a mass tort. Someone might have died. Someone might have had a heart attack. Someone might have had a stroke.
Right.
And there's different class of injuries to a similar litigation.
Got
Where
it.
a class action, everyone has to have the same type of injuries. And it's generally one complaint filed.
Look at you. You actually do know what you're talking about, huh?
It
took 35 years, and this is what we get to over
I
here.
wrote it all down last night. I put it on a napkin. I sat in front of the mirror.
You were studying. As you were sweating. By the way,
At the
you used
Yankee
that
game.
same napkin to wipe off your sweat, and then it smeared all over the place.
Getting back to the Yankee game, I've been going to Yankee games my whole life. This has been the hottest, by far, hands down, the most uncomfortable game I've ever been to.
I can imagine. It was disgusting all day yesterday, last night. Is today supposed to be worse, better? I don't know.
Today's about the same. It breaks tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to go down to the low 80s again, if we're going to give a weather forecast also. So the New York, New Jersey metropolitan area.
We're going to take a break for the local weather.
Hi. So the local metro weather in New York and New Jersey is today's going to be hot and balmy, 95 degrees. Tomorrow, some rain's going to be moving in, and the temperature's going to settle down to the low 80s for the next week or so.
I understood the forecast for tonight is dark. And continuing mostly dark until sporadic points of light come out in the morning.
That would happen.
There you go, George Carlin. Little class out. George Carlin, you're my boy, buddy. Love him.
George Carlin. We go into the God routine about the God and George Carlin's routine about God's up there looking out over everybody, and he's controlling every little thing. But yet the church needs a lot of money.
We need money to help this, support this.
A lot of money.
He's my best.
Okay.
He's my come on, go back to you, man. This is I mean, this is really incredible.
Okay. So the firm Icebrook and Marsh has been around for a long time, and the Marsh and the Icebrook is my wife, Eileen.
Yes, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. The secret is out.
I know. If I had my phone in front of me, which I don't, because that would have been rude, I would have shown a picture of my wife.
And we could look. I had 3 cameras. We could have hooked it all up.
If you go to Icebrook and Marsh, LLC, or Google Icebrook Marsh, EIS. You talked over my spelling. So EISBROUCH Marsh MARSH. Then you'll see the picture of my lovely wife and show you exactly just how high up one can marry in their life. Because I know the two of us, it's been so high that Any higher would be illegal. Any higher.
It's true. I mean, I don't know how the hell we did what we did.
Look at the two of us. Is Dr. Kelly here?
No, she's at the Functional Medicine Center. She's only here on Mondays. So she's here during my other podcast.
Okay.
On our next podcast, I'll bring Eileen on a Monday so she can hang out with Kelly.
Okay, enough of your wife. We'll talk about my wife now.
Obviously.
So Eileen has been she's a lawyer, obviously my law partner. Been practicing real estate law for a long time, as I have. We actually met in law school.
Wow. Which law school was that?
Hofstra University.
Hofstra.
Long Island.
There you go.
Quick story. How much time we got? Where are we here? We have 10 minutes?
You got 10 minutes.
So we knew each other from law. We recognized each other from law school, but during law school, I worked catering on weekends.
That's what I did
at a
at
local
chiropractic school.
Local temple in Long Island.
How about that?
I was a banquet captain. Okay, I wasn't a waiter.
That sounds so important.
I was a captain.
I was a banquet captain.
I was a captain, and you were probably a busboy.
Yeah, I was.
But
I
it's
didn't have any wings. Nothing.
So I was working one weekend during law school, and Eileen was a guest at the wedding. So we recognized each other from law school, but we didn't really know each other. So we started talking at the wedding, and she was there with a date, which was wholly unimportant to me. Of course, the guy was just a loser.
Matter. That didn't matter.
Didn't matter.
Does it ever matter?
No, absolutely not. So
she could always say no.
So then I'd see her back in law school, a week or two later, and I figured I never wanted to date someone in law school because if it goes south, which it will go south most times,
right?
You have to see this person for the next
every day for the next 3 years,
year, 2 years, whatever. So this was our third year.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it was a pretty big class, so I really didn't know her too well before this. So when we got back to law school after running into each other at the wedding, I said I'm going to ask her out for dinner. So I see her in the parking lot one day, and I go up to her, and it was really fun seeing you at the wedding. It was blah blah blah. And just want to have dinner Friday night. And she said, and I worked weekends. I worked catering. So Friday night was my night. I couldn't go out Saturday night.
That's all you had?
That's all I had. I said, you want to have dinner Friday night? And she looks at me and she said, I'd love to, but I have plans Friday night. So in a second, and this story, the more times I tell it, the faster that second happens.
Now it's this millisecond. Go ahead.
I said to her, do yourself a favor and break your date.
Wow.
She broke the date. Broke the date.
It was a date? What?
Broke the date.
Do we know what it was that she had?
What? Oh, she had a date with some guy.
It was a date.
Yeah.
Not the guy she brought to the wedding.
Well, first of all, let me get something straight, Pete. What we went on was a date, okay?
Yes.
She was not going on a date. She was going to go out with some schlub who was going to take her somewhere and have a beer or something, okay? But no, I took her on a date, proper date.
Friday night.
You want to know where I took her?
Of course, that was the next question.
Okay, we're both living on Long Island at the time, going to law school.
Yes.
There was a restaurant called the John Peel Room in Long Island.
Wow.
In the East Meadow area.
I was just about to say, what town?
It was part of or right next to Eisenhower Park on Long Island.
Okay.
The John Peel Room. Now, what was a little different about this place is it was fine dining.
Ooh.
So I had to wear a jacket.
Ooh.
And after dinner, a full orchestra started to play.
I was just about to say, there's definitely some entertainment.
A full orchestra started to play, and we danced. That's a date.
That's a date.
That's a date.
That's a first date.
That's a date.
And that's putting in an investment right there.
And we're still dating.
Yeah?
We're still dating.
You guys don't know each other all that well, do
No,
you?
believe me.
How many years is this now?
37.
37.
37 years.
Rookies.
We've been married.
You guys actually look happy, too.
Yeah. So getting back to business for a second, Eileen's been a real estate practitioner for her entire career. She worked for a very large law firm out of law school in Manhattan. And then we opened up our own firm early 90s.
In Hackensack?
In Hackensack.
Yeah.
And we were raising 2 children, Andrew and Nicole. And she segued from a full-time practitioner to part-time. And even though our kids are grown and, one married and we have my first grandchild.
Yeah, but
6 months ago, Miles.
Shout out to Miles, ladies
Shout out
and
to
gentlemen.
Miles Wyatt.
Wow.
She still practices all facets of real estate. So if one of our listeners out there tunes into Icebrook and Marsh, again, you Google it or call me on my cell at 201-888-6634. What?
You heard it here again. You guys are cornering the legal market. It's amazing. You guys as a family are helping people all over the place. It's really unreal.
What I also take a lot of pride in is if there is somebody who calls me or a family member or a friend that has a matter that we don't handle, that I will refer them out to somebody because I'll know somebody somewhere that can help them.
Yes.
If it's out of state, if it's in state, if it's a criminal matter, if it's a divorce matter, if it's a wills matter, you practice law for a long time.
You know a lot of people.
You know a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And the same thing with my medical providers. If, somebody maybe is not in an accident, but they need to see somebody, I can usually refer them out. And a lot of that would be geographically where they are in the state. But anyone in northern New Jersey that we represent on a personal injury matter, which is a routine type of car accident, I will initially try to start them off in an office like yours, which in the industry is considered, or the insurance industry is considered, conservative care.
Correct.
Where basically there are non-invasive procedures used for initial care. And that's what you guys do so great. You have the chiropractic and the physical therapy, which is extremely important to our clients and our practice.
Sure.
And then you guys will make the determination with the patient, with the client, whether they need additional care after that, and then you will refer them to a myriad of providers. If
I could parlay on that, because it's also incredibly important for when you're talking about personal injury, and I've been working with Dave for 20-something years now. For the medical provider, actually needs to know how to navigate that personal injury system. There's different types of insurance. You've got your health insurance, that you get through your job or on the market and everything like that. And that is one set of navigation for the provider to be able to bill out the insurance company and get reimbursed. And for personal injury, it's a completely different set of rules and a completely different set of games. And a lot of these people have their own providers. They like going to their providers, but they're not understanding of exactly what goes on in the personal injury world and how to navigate that. And so that's one thing I see a lot, where they may have gone to their own providers first, and understandably, listen, they're just taking care of the patient,
right?
But the behind the scenes stuff becomes a little bit a mess, and then I tend to have to clean a little bit of that up. Well,
they're not specialized in the trauma that you see on a daily basis,
right? And
also, you touched on insurance. That if you're in a car accident, typically it's not your health insurance that will cover your treatment. It's your auto insurance that will, your no-fault coverage.
Right.
And the doctors like yourself and other doctors who are familiar with personal injury patients and clients are very aware of the no-fault laws and rules, and they have to be followed very strictly, or these insurance companies love to deny treatment.
It's their job.
Yeah, it's
their job.
Exactly their job.
Yeah. How do you? I mean, what are the most common misconceptions of a personal injury attorney? Like, I know in my head everything I hear when
you get the ambulance chasers,
right.
And unfortunately, which in any industry, there's only need a few bad players to start the floodgates and open the floodgates.
Absolutely.
So are there personal injury lawyers out there who are chasing cases illegally? It's very important that you cannot solicit clients. They need to be referred to you by a friend, a family member, another professional. But in New York, you hear about these stories more than New Jersey, about some runners or people in hospitals and signing up cases. And does it happen? Yeah, it happens.
Right.
Any lawyer who sits here and says, no, that doesn't happen in our industry, well, they're full of shit.
No, they are. But that's the big misconception, is that every one of you guys is like that. And the funny thing is, doing this for over 20 years, I've not met many that actually do that.
No, advertising has exploded
Sure.
in the last 30 years. Jacoby and Myers were the first on television.
I remember those.
Then I followed nationally on my mass tort work and my drug litigation. We did a national platform. And so television exploded in the 90s and the early 2000s.
Was there a difference in the law that what you guys were able to do?
Yes,
Something that had changed legislatively?
Jacoby and Myers had a case that was decided, which made legal advertising legal.
Got it.
Then that segued into digital advertising, which is huge today. It opened up an industry, a billion-dollar industry, not just for the media companies that run the advertising, but also now hedge funds and private equity funds that can participate in the advertising dollars.
Sure.
And since we're at the 29-30 point, that's probably a conversation for our next...
For the next one, huh?
Yeah, the next
All
one.
right.
Because that's a fascinating industry, and how really this market operates today.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So the whole evolution of that from where we were to where we are now, I mean, just the targeted audiences and stuff. It's just crazy. You're right. That's a whole nother conversation.
Geo-marketing, finding people. It's a fascinating industry.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you for having me on.
You can't thank me. I got to thank you.
No, I know, but I've been asking you for years to come on. And
Years.
You haven't
thing is
taken
good.
my phone calls.
Do you realize? Look at that.
What's that?
Episode number 60.
60.
Your episode number 60. I've done
60.
these 60 times already.
60.
60.
60.
In this beautiful room.
It took you 60 to invite me?
Get out of here. You've been
Jeez.
freaking out playing
60.
golf and vacationing and summering in the Hamptons.
60. No, I don't summer in the Hamptons.
You don't summer in the Hamptons.
I don't know. No.
Oh, man. What an incredible, repertoire of things that you do. I mean, the victim compensation fund, the mass tort stuff, the personal injury, Eileen with the real estate. You guys really cover the gamut. You are the perfect, you're the perfect local guy. You're such an unbelievable resource and network that, like, again, as you said, if people needed something that you weren't able to provide, you know somebody in the industry. So it's so helpful.
100%. But again, if they wanted to speak to me personally, they probably should call my cell phone.
What was that number again?
At 201-888-6634.
He likes to be called on Saturday evenings at about 11:30.
100%. 100%. You want to speak at 11:30 Saturday night?
Let's go.
You call me, you text me, whatever you want.
You're a helper.
Whatever you want.
A guy of integrity, a guy that helps, and really just a good person.
My man.
Attest to that. You're amazing, ladies and gentlemen.
My man.
David Icebrook from Icebrook and Marsh. You heard his cell phone a million times over here.
You did?
Please feel free to give him a call. I will vouch for him. He is absolutely terrific. He's been doing it for 35 years. He knows the game. He knows how to navigate the entire system, and what he's doing is absolutely incredible. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Pete.
For joining me.
Thank you, Pete. Dr. Pete.
Dr. Pete, the Dr. Pete. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on our next podcast, we have Dr. Rachel Bloom, veterinarian. She just opened up her brand new practice in our town of Woodcliff Lake, New Jersey over there. And we are excited to have her on next on the Local Biz Cast. You know, there was one thing I did not mention.
What?
That we also rent out this podcast room.
Really?
We absolutely do. A very professional podcast room. It's got 3 cameras, even though this podcast, we use that guy right over there. We have professional sound, professional mics. We have professional video. We have professional lighting. We've got it all, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are interested in renting out the podcast room to start your own podcast, you can reach out to me as well. But that is all for today.
Okay.
David Icebrook and Marsh, thank you again for joining me. And we will see you next time on the Local Biz Cast. In the meantime, have a wonderful day.